Welcome everyone to German Tool Reviews. Today we have something a little bit different, a REMS Tiger ANC. This is an industrial reciprocating saw made specifically for cutting pipes. I actually bought this some time ago off eBay with the understanding that it was used, and I figured it would be a good restoration project. Even though the box is a bit beat up, I don't even think this unit has been used, as you will see in a bit. REMS is one of those industrial brands that are made specifically for heavy industrial use, and we'll often see those type of brands at tool rental companies. Are there any plumbers out there that use REMS tools on a regular basis? Industrial tool companies have a different philosophy when designing and marketing their tools. They take an approach similar to the military and design something that is the best that money can buy at the time. If you're wondering why those industrial tool brands such as Walker and Hilti are so expensive, this is the reason. Looking specifically at the catalog entry for this tool, there are a couple of features that set it apart from a regular reciprocating saw. The first is the ANC feature, which is their acronym for All-Round Needle Bearing Mounted Crank Drive. By their claim, the ANC reduces friction, heat generation, and wear. The other unique features relate to the use of the pipe support, which they claim gives 400% additional sawing force. I really have no idea how they arrived at that number, but I can see it giving more power if you simultaneously are pushing down on the saw and up on the pipe support, which would increase the cutting speed. Using the guide support also produces perfect 90-degree cuts and can also allow the saw to be used one-handed. Now back to the tool. Like I said, I got really lucky on this one. I only paid about $100 shipped, and I believe it was from one of those dealers who buys storage lockers and then sells the contents on eBay. If you were to buy this retail, it probably would be around $800. The exterior of the box is definitely beat up quite a bit, so I think it's been sitting around for some time or has changed hands quite a few times. Opening the box up, we can see everything that has been nicely packed. I'm not sure if this would have been the factory packaging, but it has protected everything nicely over the years. The items that are included are the saw, of course, a pipe clamp that attaches to the end of the tool, the manual, and 2 REMS saw blades. Having a quick look at the manual, we see a table describing all the different saw blade types that REMS makes for this tool. The yellow special saw blades are specifically designed for using it with the included pipe clamp and are thicker than their universal saw blades, which are red in color. The yellow blades are also specifically for steel pipes, and the included documentation states that red blades should be used for all other metal types. Also included in the manual are the part schematic and other servicing instructions. The unit includes 2 REMS yellow blades that are 2 inches in length. They have a tooth pitch of 3.2 millimeters or around 1/8 of an inch. You can definitely tell that these are much thicker than a normal reciprocating saw blade. The pipe clamp is also very well built, with a fine threaded welded T-handle and V-guide to support pipes up to 2 inches in diameter. The main part of it looks to be made out of cast iron, while the part that connects to the tool is some steel alloy that is press fit into the clamp. Now getting onto the main tool, first thing I'll do is I'll plug it in and make sure it actually works. The entire front portion of the tool has a rubber grip that is quite comfortable. It does not have that cheap feeling that you get on some soft rubber on very cheap power tools. The shoe folds down to reveal a slotted set screw. This screw is used to lock the pipe clamp support to the tool via a ball bearing. It definitely looks like there was some sort of thread locker applied to the screw, as I had a heck of a time loosening it up. To install the blade, there is a 4mm hex L key that is held to the tool via the rubber boot. A socket cap screw is accessible through the slot to lock the blade in place. I'm not planning on doing a full teardown of this unit at this time. Maybe that is something we can do in the future if there is interest in it. However, we can easily take a look at the electronics inside of the handle. A tip for those that don't encounter posi drive screws very often: anytime you see a screw that kind of looks like a Phillips but has dashes around the perimeter is actually a posi drive, which is slightly different from a Phillips. You could probably get away with using a Phillips on a posi drive screw, but it would usually cam out the screw and damage it. I'd originally thought that this green button was some sort of switch lock, but that module is actually an overload switch. You rarely see something like this in a power tool. The switch itself is a sealed assembly made in Holland from a company I don't think I've ever heard of. The screws are even tacked down with some anti-tamper torque seal. Now let's put this thing to work. I actually need to cut out about a foot off this pipe for something I'm working on. It is a 1/2-inch steel pipe that probably has been sitting around for 50 years. I'm just sliding the end here onto the pipe clamp, but you can also go over the top if you unscrew the clamping screw far enough. Something did happen here where the blade actually popped off, but I think this was my fault for not installing it properly, which I will show you later in the video. As you can see, it cut at a perfect 90 degrees. There is a small burr on the outside there, but that can be easily removed with an external pipe deburring tool. Because the blade is thicker than a normal reciprocating saw blade, it never even got warm, and you can handle it immediately after using it. To see why the blade came apart, I took apart the blade locking mechanism, and I could see that there is a pin that must be engaged in the hole to fully lock it in place. I must have installed it without that pin in all the way, so that's my guess as to what happened. You also see that this pin is not centered, so it makes it impossible to install the blade upside down in this configuration. This is installed only with a single M4 socket cap screw, and I'm wondering if there shouldn't be a lock washer on this to help prevent it from backing out due to all that vibration it sees. It really does seem like a hassle to install both the pipe clamp and blades on this thing. I probably would have preferred some sort of quick release system. I don't know if this type of blade clamping mechanism is standard on all these industrial pipe cutting tools or not. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that look at the REMS Tiger ANC reciprocating saw. I'm sure it's something that most people will never run into, but now you know if you ever see one for sale at a reasonable price. They are built like tanks and should serve you well. Check out the link in the description to the full review. Have a good week, and I'll catch you guys next time.